everybody. Happy Tuesday. How's it going? How you feeling? How's it hanging even? uh, let's ask the questions. I hope everybody is doing well on this Tuesday, on this holiday week. How are you guys doing? Good. Oh, good. I hope. Anyway, I definitely hope yes. I'm very excited that you all have made some time to join me and hang out with me on today. We've got a good show in store for you today, everybody. And before we even get all that started, I want to thank. Since we're being thankful and shit, since we're being thankful, I want to thank you all, the Fire Fam, old members, OGs, some of my VIPs, my All Stars, even some of the new ends. What's up? We'd like to thank you all for tuning in, for checking out, for just being engaged, coming through with your conversation, with your excellent observations and astute points, and correcting me when I am incorrect. I just want to say I just appreciate y'all. Period. I don't even know how many people's in here, but it don't matter if it was no people in here, if it was two people in here. I'm grateful for the two of y'all, but I see we have like 27 people in it. So I'm grateful for all 27 of y'all and everyone that will come back and watch this later. We've had a good year so far on Burn It Down with Kim Brown in 2022. And here's to hoping that 2023 will be an even better year. And the only reason we are anywhere on these YouTube streets is because of the folks. So thank the folks. Thank you, folks. Fire Fam, John Brown Brigade, everybody that come through and rep. So thank you all. Thank you all. A good show in store for you all today. Um, do me a favor, if you didn't get a chance to check it out, if you go to Twitter, I think I put it on the at Burn It Down KB Twitter page. I was on Jackie Lukman's show today, Lukman Nation. Jackie asked me a lot of questions about Baltimore. Baltimore is in a she asked me a lot of questions about Baltimore. So we talked a little bit about the Mosbys and a little bit about Biden authorizing yet more many billions of funding for Ukraine. So that link is on the Twitter page at Burn It Down KB. Big up to Lukman Nation and to By Any Means Necessary for continuing to do the thangy. What else do I have, Will? Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Will. You don't have to answer. I'm trying to think. Speaking of being thankful and giving, this week, if you could pop up, Will, for me, the abortion fund. So because I have been very late in announcing the November abortion fund, we actually are going to support this fund for November and December, and it's the Baltimore Abortion Fund. The Baltimore Abortion Fund not only helps pregnant people in the Maryland area who are seeking abortion services, but they are also doing a lot to help people, the many, many, many people that are coming from down south, from out of state, from places in the Midwest to seek abortion care in the state of Maryland. The state of Maryland does pretty good with abortion services. In fact, they've actually expanded abortion services in the state of Maryland, and the Baltimore Abortion Fund does a bang up job of helping people get the medical care that they need. So when we get to Giving Tuesday, maybe you guys could think about tossing the Baltimore Abortion Fund a few bucks. Like I said, because I was so late in announcing it deep in the month of November, the channel will donate $100 to the Baltimore Abortion Fund, $50 per month for November and December. So you guys consider that when we get to Giving Tuesday and the like. So I wanted to start off the show because, well, we've had this same ongoing problem in the United States, and the problem continues to persist. The problem continues to show itself in very fatal and damaging and tragic ways in other communities across the country and communities near to you and to me as well. But if we don't get a wranglehold of right wing white supremacy and this Christian fascist ideology, we are going to be in deeper shit than we are currently in. The latest mass shooting tragedy to happen in the United States in Colorado Springs, Colorado, at Club Q over the weekend, where 5 people were killed and just shy of 20 others injured. I think the number I saw was 18 or 19 others injured. It's just a reminder that not only is transphobia and homophobia outright a threat to public safety, but look at the motherfuckers who keep shooting up shit, man. Look at these people. They are the same people. If you set the picture of this alleged Colorado, and the only reason I say alleged is out of journalism habit, okay? Like, I believe the person they have is the person who did it. But the person who shot up Club Q, the person who shot up the Buffalo supermarket, the person who shot up the 4th of July parade, and these are just this year, right? You set the motherfuckers all next to each other, they pictures. It's the same motherfucker. Young, angry, radicalized white male who have each out of these three instances that I've named, all of them had prior encounters with law enforcement by means of these people either making threats themselves and the police getting called, and they all got an opportunity to go out and cause mayhem and murder people in public. And it's amazing to me how black children get locked up for fucking jaywalking, for fucking being squeegee kids, right? They put black children in jail for all kinds of shit. But these fucking white kids, oh, they get to make terrorist threats, bomb threats, threaten to shoot up schools, threaten to kill their families, and they all get to see another day. And they get the opportunity to come out and be the real domestic terrorists that there are. And I'm tired of it. I am tired of it. And tragically, it was the LGBTQ community in Colorado Springs that had to face this. And the targets change, the perpetrators do not. We do have a problem with gun violence in this country. We definitely have a problem with mass shooting in this country. And all kinds of different people, usually men though. usually it's male doing the mass shootings. But in these targeted cases, right? I'm not talking about the people who were out in a crowded area of town on a club at night, and there was a interaction with folks, and tempers got elevated, and somebody pulled out a gun and started shooting. This was not that. This was a targeted act by a white wing, yes, white and right wing supremacist who had intentions to murder members of a very specific community. So I want, firstly, I want us to get into this, and I want us to talk about what Club Q meant to the community out there in Colorado Springs. And I have to say, I'm not all that familiar with Colorado. I think I've only been to Denver once, and it wasn't. I did not see much of the city. But every time I am made aware that there are, yes, significant non-white populations in the Denver area, outside of Denver, in Colorado Springs, in Aurora. Elijah McClain was murdered by Aurora police in Colorado. So there's black folks out there. I know I think I'm reinforcing this to myself more than I am to the rest of y'all, because when I see black people in places I may not expect, I'm like, oh, good. There's a contingent out there. But first, I want to acknowledge the victims, okay? So the victims were Daniel Aston, Raymond Green Vance, Kelly Loving, Ashley Pouth, and Derek Rump. 5 people completely minding their business, hanging out with their friends at a drag show. They had a drag show going on. And I actually want us to hear, we have clips from the person who ended up subduing the mass shooter. And I love it that I'm hearing accounts of the fact that they stomped the fuck out of dude. They beat his fucking ass. I think there's a reason the Colorado Springs Police Department has not yet put up a picture or a mugshot of him from this weekend's arrest, because I think they fucked him up. I think they fucked him up real good. But let's get started here. I want to hear actually directly from someone who was there. And the perpetrators are the same. These radicalized white supremacists. But for every targeted attack, I think it reinforces to all communities, particularly marginalized communities, the need for us to be able to stand with each other and stand together. Okay. Just as everybody should have stood with black folks in Buffalo when the top supermarket was shot up, just like everybody should have stood with the people in that community north of Chicago when the 4th of July parade was shot up, when the synagogue was targeted in Pennsylvania, when Latinos were targeted at the Walmart. God damn, which mass shooting was that? Was that New Mexico or was that in Texas? There's been so many, it's impossible to keep track, to keep count. But when marginalized communities are specifically targeted, particularly by extremist white folks, everybody that's oppressed, we got to ride together. Okay. We have to ride together. And to me, when I saw black folks in the mix and brown folks in the mix, I said, oh, this was not just the gay community. The gay community is an extension of the black community, is an extension of the Hispanic community. Like, these are our people. Okay. Let's make no mistake about that. So the first clip that I want us to see is from a man named Joshua, who was there at Club Q when the gunmen began to come and shoot. And this clip is courtesy of journalist Josh Helmuth, who had this on their Twitter feed. So let's take a look at the firsthand accounting of the mass shooting at Club Q as told by Joshua.
As I was dancing on the dance floor, I heard shots fired. I thought it was the music because there were no screams, there was no help, help, nothing like that. Then there were more shots. When I realized what was going on, I ran to the dressing room immediately. There was a customer that followed me, and there was a drag performer, Delusional, who was in the dressing room. I made them lock the doors, and we got down on the ground and cut off the lights immediately. We heard everything. We heard more shots fired. We heard the assailant being beat up by someone that I assumed that tackled him. We heard the police come in. We heard them yelling at him. We heard them saying check certain people because they're critical. We heard everything, and all I can think about is everything. My life. Just everything, friends, family, loved ones. I came here to celebrate my birthday. Honestly, I was supposed to be in Denver, but I came back a day early, and it's sad.
Joshua, what does this mean for the LGBTQ community here in Colorado Springs, this shooting?
It's hard to say. It means so much because this is our only safe space here in the Springs. And so for this to get shot up, what are we going to do now? Where are we going to go? Yeah, we can rebuild and come together but what about those people that lost their lives for no reason? Like the other 18 that were injured. I could have been one of them. It means a lot because, again, what are we going to do now? How are we going to feel safe in our city?
This was your safe space.
Yeah, this was the only LGBTQIA plus space in the entire city of Colorado Springs. It's won awards in Independent Magazine. I got my start here. So many of my friends I met here and people that I call loved ones, and now it's shattered.
When your safe space is no longer safe, I don't think that that's a trauma that you ever really recover from. And my heart deeply breaks for the gay community in Colorado Springs that had to endure this this dastardly event committed by some bigoted, homophobic, transphobic, anti-LGBTQ asshole. And the problem is there is a lot more anti-gay rhetoric, anti-trans rhetoric in the past year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, but it seems to be steadily increasing. The Human Rights Commission released the report, I believe it was this week, where they noted that at least 32 transgender and gender nonconforming people have been killed in the United States in 2022, according to the Human Rights Campaign. in their annual report. I'm reading this from the Associated Press. Transgender people of color account for 81% of known victims this year, and 59% of those were Black trans women. Those are disproportionately represented as they have been in years past. Also comprising 81% of the deaths recorded at the time of publication. Now, I want you guys just to deep that for a second, okay? That Black trans women account for the overwhelming majority of trans deaths and trans murders, pardon me, trans murders so far this year. And also, this another note about this. It says the victims have been, quote, overwhelmingly Black, under the age of 35, and killed with a firearm, the report states. It is past time, y'all, that something must be done about white ring and right wing extremism, because it is taking people out one community at a time, targeting people one community at a time for these domestic terrorist attacks. And if you, do I have this? No, I don't think I gave this to you, Will. I want us to check out a couple more clips because listening to the words of the people that were there, I think is very important. And when I tell you that the man, the Army veteran who is credited for taking down the shooter, and we'll get to the information I have about the shooter in a moment, because you wouldn't believe you wouldn't believe his pedigree. You wouldn't believe some of the shit that he's already been in trouble for. I mean, you all would believe it because, we don't sugarcoat shit over here. If I told you that old boy was accused of domestic violence, that very much tracks, does it not? Very much on brand with domestic terrorism. Seemingly a very short, slippery slope between domestic violence abuser and domestic terrorist. Some would argue they're the same. His name is Richard Fierro. And Richard has given some of the most, Richard Fierro, the hero who has been credited with stopping this mass shooting from getting even worse. This guy has been speaking directly from his heart and with chest. And the candor that he has used, for one, in trying to deflect some of these platitudes that are justifiably being lauded upon him, who managed to subdue this gunman without a gun himself. Okay. Take some notes, Uvalde Police Department. We'll get into that in a moment. Let's take a look at this clip. This is going to be from CBS Colorado. And Richard Fierro came out of his house to address reporters the day after the shooting. And by the way, he and his family are in mourning because one of those killed, one of the 5 that were murdered, was his daughter's boyfriend. So his family is grieving and suffering right now themselves. But he did come out and address the media. I want you guys to listen to what he had to say. Let's take a look.
Richard Fierro came out of his house with his wife and daughter nursing injuries, but home.
I'm not a hero, I'm just some dude, man.
Their family has done things with the LGBTQ community before.
We do the Pride Parade because we love our community. Doesn't matter LGBT, doesn't matter straight. I'm straight. My kids are straight, but we go there.
It was a good night at the club until the shooting, and people like bartender Michael Anderson feared what was happening.
I thought that I was about to die. Like, there was, in my view, there was no one to stop him from where he was to where we were. It was just a matter of time.
Fierro and another patron, Thomas James, subdued the gunman.
I grabbed him by the back of his little cheap-ass armor thing, and I pulled him down. The young man he was hiding there had jumped up with me. I don't know if he helped pull him down or not. I have no idea.
Fierro using the suspect's gun against him.
I just kept wailing on him. And I told the kid in front of me, kick him in his head, keep kicking him in his head. One of the performers walked by, or was running by, and I told her, kick this guy. And she took her high heel and stuffed it in his face.
It gave people time to escape as they fought.
I don't know who it is, but they saved my life.
I gotta kill this guy. He's gonna kill my kid. He's gonna kill my wife. He ended up killing my daughter's boyfriend.
Raymond Green Vance, the family, is mourning, along with the rest of the 5 killed.
I wish I could have done more, okay? But those people aren't home tonight. I am.
What a compelling recollection of that night, and big up to him, because like I said, some of the anecdotal stuff that I was reading on social media, when I say that when they beat the shit out of dude, they beat him up, they whipped his ass, they beat him so bad that they weren't sure if they killed him. Like, that is how bad they stomped him out. And I want to big up the drag artist, the drag performer, because I'm assuming this drag performer possibly was assigned male at birth. So maybe they've got some height. Maybe they've got a little bit of height and a little bit of oomph in them thighs. You know what I'm saying? So big up to the drag performer who stomped out this person's face with their heels because they were coming in there murdering people. There's no sugarcoating any of that. And without a doubt, this person has been radicalized by a lot of the anti-LGBTQ and anti-trans rhetoric that has not only permeated conservative talking spaces, but they have permeated a lot of state houses. They have permeated the halls of Congress. We have simply allowed anti-trans rhetoric to just take a hold in America, and there's been not enough pushback. There was a Trans Day of Remembrance event in Washington today, DC. Oh, maybe it wasn't today. I think I saw the clip of it in recent days. You guys know my concept of time, my ability to process time has been greatly affected, so I kind of don't try. But on TV recently, they interviewed a trans activist at this Trans Day of Remembrance event, and the person said, we need action. Like, solidarity's cute, solidarity's cool, but we need more than just solidarity. We actually need action to protect us. And they're right. There needs to be, at minimum, more of a discourse within our own respective communities, because no matter how conscious we believe ourselves to be, and maybe a lot of us are, we still are in community with those that hold very harmful views about certain communities, right? Specifically LGBTQ communities. And these people need to be checked, okay? These people need to be checked. And it's almost the same as for our white friends, our white comrades and allies who have racists in their family. And who wants to start a fight at the Thanksgiving Day table, right? Who wants all this tension and uncomfortableness and awkwardness? Because Uncle Roger, he ain't gonna change his mind. He loves Trump. He hates the gays. Like, I can't talk to Uncle Roger. That's fine. But check Uncle Roger when Uncle Roger starts on that anti-trans shit and on that racist shit. If nothing else, say, not today, Raj. Not today. Not in front of me on today. Not in front of grandma's turkey. No. No, we're not going there, Raj. But something at minimum, conversations need to be had. People need to be checked. And I want us to take a look. Hold on. Let's take a look actually at a couple of things. Hold on. Let me get my stuff pulled up together. Thank you so much to everybody that is in here. Thank you all so much. Please be sure to give the video a like, a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, etc. So the alleged Colorado Springs Club Q shooter, his name is ain't this a bitch? Why does this do this to me? Anderson Lee Aldrich, okay? And Will, if you could pop up the piece, I think it says KOAA.com. The headline reads, "Evacuation lifted following bomb threat in Lawson Ranch." because Anderson's been busy out here. Before Anderson got his hands on a weapon of war and decided to target the gay community in an act of terror and murder 5 people and injure 18 others. Oh, Anderson already had some run ins with the law. And this was just this year. This was last year, 2021, in El Paso County out there in Colorado. Residents within a quarter mile of the 6300 block of Pilgrimage Road in the Lorson Ranch neighborhood were evacuated Friday night by the El Paso County Sheriff's Office. Why were they evacuated, you ask? The Sheriff's Office said that the situation began at around 2 p.m. Friday afternoon when they received and responded to a report of a bomb threat in the 9800 block of Rubicon Drive. The reporting party said that her son was threatening to hurt her with a homemade bomb, plus multiple weapons and ammunition. She was not in the home at the time when she made the call and was not sure where her son was. So according to the sheriff's office, deputies responded to the home and after further investigation realized that the suspect, 21-year-old Anderson Lee Aldrich, was in the 6300 block of Pilgrimage Road, approximately 1 mile from Rubicon Drive. Deputies contacted Aldrich by phone and he refused to comply with orders to surrender. At approximately 4:15 p.m., deputies began evacuating approximately 10 homes in the area as a precaution. Can you imagine? A short time later, an emergency text notification was also sent out to homes within a quarter-mile radius of the address. I just want you guys to understand this, okay? That he did not blow up anything. But the fact is, he must have been so convincing to his mother and to the sheriff's deputies that they took this shit as extremely credible that they evacuated homes within a quarter-mile radius. Imagine. The sheriff's office then said that at approximately 5:46 p.m., negotiators were able to get Aldrich to comply with orders, and he walked out of the front door at his home and was arrested. But here is the rub. I don't think his mother followed up with charges, okay? And by the way, that the regional explosive unit cleared both of the homes and did not find any explosive devices. Why was this? Anyway, you know what? I'm not going to question crazy. I'm not even going to ask why would someone lie about having bombs? Because that's way above my pay grade. And I'm just not finna do that. So there's Anderson right there. That was last year. Anderson did not have near a charge filed against him. So that enabled him to come and buy some weapons. Anderson Lee Aldrich, if we could pop up that heavy piece, if we could, will appreciate it, pimp. Yep. So this is some quick facts about this person. Oh, by the way, I think they are the grandson of a big MAGA supporter. I believe it's in the San Diego area. Hold on. Of course, y'all know I got my notes here, notes there. A more organized person would have a little bit better method to the madness, but I am not she. My deepest apologies. Nope, it's not it. That is also not it. Maybe I don't have it. But there is MAGA in this man's bloodline. And you should not be surprised by that. But like I said, he has a history of domestic violence. He also has a history of making terroristic threats. And as they continue to dig a little bit further into his history, he is been dealing with and doing a lot of online bullying, which should not surprise anybody, and involved in just right-wing holes. I don't know how else to say it. I do not know how else to say it. Oh, by the way, the standoff that he had with police, he did live stream that when he was threatening to blow up his house and threatening his mother. No charges filed. So here he is now shooting up Club Q, murdering 5 people, injuring 18 others. And the accountability only comes after the mass tragic event has already happened. Oh, now he's in jail. Now he's beat the fuck up. Now he's held without bond. And from what I understood, I thought that the whole reason that Joe Biden and the bipartisan Congress agreed to give police $300 billion more dollars was to stop crime. I thought we was on some fighting crime shit. Oh, but they don't actually mean fighting this kind of crime. Crimes at random, well, not even random, this was targeted. But crimes against the public, no, they talk about property crimes. They want to stop robberies and they want to stop shoplifting rings. That's the money that Joe Biden wants to reallocate to police and the purposes for, not to prevent shit like this, which continues to blow my mind because these people who are visibly, I'm not going to even venture into this young man's mental state because simply by him being homophobic does not make him mentally unwell. It means that he's probably a rich, privileged, coddled little asshole who has not been told no and who has never had to face consequences before for any of his fucked up actions. And mom and granddad are running interference with him versus the criminal justice system because they don't want to ruin his life. They don't want to ruin his life. They don't want to give him a bad record. They don't want to set him up for failure for life. Meanwhile, their failures to act unleash a menace onto the rest of us. And how many more of these instances are we going to see? Like, seriously, like we may have to have a fucking rally down at the FBI headquarters. You know what I'm saying? When Marjorie Taylor Greene and them show up talking about defund the FBI, we're going to show up too. Like, yes, defund the fucking FBI because they're supposed to prevent shit like this and they don't. How many of these QAnon assholes are on chat forums making all kinds of threats and the FBI is just noting the shit, right? they not sending nobody around to come ask some questions or try to figure out what type of arsenal or artillery these people who are making these threats, not trying to assess, not trying to do no threat assessment at all. Like, oh, well, that's just Timmy talking crazy. Well, Timmy don't mean nothing by it. The fuck he doesn't. Timmy absolutely means something by it. I'm very much over this. But please, in every single way, and every time again that marginalized communities are targeted, when Black people are targeted, when the Jewish community is targeted, when the gay community is targeted, when the Hispanic community is targeted, when our indigenous communities are targeted, when women are targeted, like this is shit we have to talk up and about, right? And it's important that we have to dismantle homophobia again within our own circles and within our own spaces. I know that this man had a very specific agenda. And hold on, where was that piece that I saw? And in part, his agenda was fueled by all these anti-LGBTQ, not only just rhetoric, but legislation. And what does this say? This is from NBC News. Nearly 240 anti-LGBT bills, anti-LGBTQ bills were filed in 2022 so far. Most of them targeting trans people. And this is what my concern is, that for every group that comes under that right-wing spotlight, right, we see the violence towards those communities get ratcheted up. And again, it's only these people coming to shoot the shit up, right? I know that there are people that probably have some agreement with me politically, but still hold homophobic views and anti-trans views. But they are not going to go into the club and shoot up the place, right? They just going to make their little comments, and not to say that that's acceptable. It's not. And even some would even say that speaking in a derogatory or demeaning way about certain communities, even in interpersonal or community spaces, helps to facilitate disgust towards those communities, which helps to spur on violence, right? And I don't doubt that. And I even think, even within the Black community, we see the number of Black trans women that are murdered every year. Out of all the trans people deaths and murder specifically, it's overwhelmingly Black trans women that are getting killed out here. And unfortunately, we know by and large by who, because violence is usually intra-communal, right? It's usually white people killing white people and Black people killing Black people, usually, right? But for that reason, we as Black folks, for the Black folks present, we have to disavow that shit from our folks, because Black trans people and Black gay people are as much susceptible to poverty violence, to state violence, to intimate partner violence as hetero folks, right? So all of our issues very much overlap. I don't see my issues concerning police violence and wanting to end rape culture and the normalization of sexual assault against everybody. I don't see that different from what the LGBTQ community's issues are, right? I think we are very much in alignment in wanting those things to end. So I don't like to see a separation, especially when Black folks talk about the gay community. No, the gay community is also the Black community, okay? And the sooner that we amend our language and update our language to include our gay brothers and sisters and Black gender non-conforming people within community spaces, because all the shit that affects us affects them, okay? And it ain't no us and them, it's just us. And I don't like to hear that exclusionary language when people be like, oh, well, there's Black issues and then there's gay issues. No, I don't think so. I think the Black and the gay issues overlap and are very much the same. So there's that. Do me a favor, everybody, hit thumbs up on the video. And let me take a moment here. God damn, I hate to be pitch woman, but I got to. So the Burn It Down with Kim Brown merch store. We do have one of those. Wait, what's this? Ooh, this is my Burn It Down with Kim Brown mug. Oh, it's lovely. Isn't it pretty? Listen, it keeps the hot stuff hot and the cold stuff cold. It does everything you want your mug to do, right? So, in commemoration of capitalism, since capitalism makes me do a lot of shit that I don't want to do, we are having a Black Friday sale for the merch store, 30% off with the code FIRE30. Now, what does that mean? So that means this lovely mug is under $10. I think it's like $12 and some change. So 30% off is like $9 and some change. For the hoodies, I think I'm the worst salesperson. I don't even know how much that shit costs. I know that shit is reasonable. I know everything on the merch store is reasonably priced. So anyway, I think the hoodie is like $40. So with 30% off, it's like $28 if my math is right, which there's no guarantee that that's right. But do the calculations for yourself. And if there's some shit that you've been looking at on the merch store, go ahead and pick that up. Go ahead and pick that up. And I want to thank everybody that I know has bought merch. Big up to Black Magic. Big up to Dawn. I think Franny France has got a thing or two. Who else got something? Court, I think, got something. Latif got a hoodie. Alicia got a hoodie. Shades got a hoodie. Y'all have been supporting. So anyway, 30% off through Tuesday. The code FIRE30 is good through next Tuesday. So yeah, if you want to support and pick up some snazzy BIDWKB swag, the hoodie is extremely comfortable. I'm quite the fan of the hoodie. And like I said, we got stickers and shit. We got mugs and shit. Just pick up a thing or two or several. Whatever floats your boat. We certainly appreciate it. And thank you all so much for the ongoing support that you continue to give the channel and the platform. Thank you, Crip Hop Nation. Thank you so much for your super chat support. I appreciate you so much, baby boy. Thank you, Shirley. Shirley, did you get something? Hey, Imani. Hey, Big T.O. Hey, Tyler. Who got? What's one of y'all? One of y'all got something, and I can't remember who it was, but it's fine. Thank you all so much for doing what you do, even just showing up here. That's fine, and support us with the free stuff too at BIDWKB. Please give us a follow. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Burn It Down KB on Twitter. Twitch at BIDWKB on Twitch. Hey, what's going on, Anna Hart? Hello. Okay, so circling back to some of the things I was talking about, because the FBI clearly ain't shit. The FBI clearly is not watching these racist white supremacists at all. They're not watching them, keeping an eye on them, following up with them and their threats at all. And the police are still taking a fuck ton of money. Ooh, don't you love that analysis? The police are still taking a fuck ton of money out here. We're going to go to that Minneapolis piece. This caught my eye, and I didn't realize that this was like a lengthy report. And I apologize, Will, for making you pull this lengthy report. But it really caught my attention for a couple of reasons. Okay, so after the George Floyd uprisings in Minneapolis, right? A lot of Minneapolis police officers said that the job was too hard. Wah. And nobody liked them anymore. And everybody was mean to them and yelling at them. And it really hurt their feelings. It hurt their feelings. So they had to go out on PTSD disability, right? To the tune of $26 million worth of PTSD, and Minneapolis Police Department not wanting to fucking work, basically, is what it came down to. And the city said, hey, you know what? Blue lives matter. Y'all don't have to work. Here, we're going to give you a bucket of money. Oh, Paulie, we're going to give you a bucket of money too. Not no disrespect to my brother, Paul, BSOGX. Paul X, what's up? I just said Paulie. I don't know where Paulie came from, but anyway, let's take a look at this report. And Will, I think this shit is compelling. So I'm not going to even tell you how long it is, because I think it's compelling. I think it's really good information. Very surprised to see this coming from a Fox affiliate, but Fox 9, to their credit, was not giving out the propaganda on today. In fact, of course, they could have easily scorched the cops way more than they did in this piece. But the fact that these reporters, or this particular reporter, decided to actually put forth an honest accounting of what the police have done and are doing, I'm reluctant to even be grateful or appreciative of that. It's almost like the non-custodial parent who provides support and picks the child up. It's like, no, motherfucker, you don't get a pat on the back for being a parent. That's what the fuck you supposed to do. It is like these journalists, no, it's like I'm so reluctant to give them pats on the back for reporting accurately and honestly and directly about what police are doing, because that's what the fuck they're supposed to be doing. So anyway, let's check out this piece from Fox 9. And let's be clear, the police are scamming. Not to say that they haven't been always scamming, but they are running this PTSD scam into the ground to the expense and to the detriment of people who could desperately use that $26 million legitimately in Minneapolis. Let's take a look at this piece from Fox 9.
For a lot of Minneapolis police officers, that was a breaking point. Hundreds have left the force, and many are now claiming disability, specifically post-traumatic stress disorder. Because of that, many officers are now walking away with six-figure payouts. But the Fox 9 investigators have learned many of those same officers have questionable histories of misconduct.
What county are we in?
This surveillance video, obtained by the Fox 9 investigators, depicts a troubling incident from April 2017. A DWI suspect is seen here, detained by Minneapolis police. He appears to be intoxicated and slurring his words before he becomes agitated.
All right, hey. Come on.
The man hits his head against the wall as these two rookie cops try to restrain him.
Sit down.
The officers pull the man into the hallway. And after a struggle, they place him into a hog tie, his hands and ankles bound and tied behind his back. This is an unauthorized hobbling technique, a maneuver that violates Minneapolis police policy. But look here, as Sergeant Joseph Will, who is the supervisor on site, does nothing. Internal Affairs investigators noted he seemed, quote, disinterested, with his arms crossed and looking up as those rookie cops continued to use the unapproved hog tie. Then he simply walks away. Sergeant Will was disciplined, suspended for 20 hours without pay. But he's also one of a growing list of now former Minneapolis police officers who have recently walked away with a workers' compensation settlement, a six-figure payout to the tune of $160,000. The Fox 9 investigators analyzed hundreds of city council minutes, police and disciplinary records, identifying at least 155 Minneapolis police officers who have had workers' compensation settlements approved. In total, that's nearly $26 million in payouts.
If these individuals have symptoms legitimately consistent with PTSD, it is not safe, in my opinion, for them to be out on the street.
Attorney Ron Muser has shepherded more than 85% of the cases we analyzed. Muser's firm specializes in PTSD, and he spoke publicly about his clients, police officers who he says encountered life-changing trauma during the civil unrest.
I can tell you that they came from all sorts of angles and were at different locations throughout the civil unrest over that time period. A great deal of them were actually physically inside the 3rd precinct the day that it was abandoned by the city of Minneapolis.
While, yes, that was a traumatic event for some police officers, the amount of PTSD from that seems really excessive.
Dave Bicking is a board member of the watchdog group Communities United Against Police Brutality. When you look at that list of officers who have taken these payouts, what do you see?
We do see that many of those officers have a long history of complaints against them and even of lawsuit settlements. There's much less history of discipline because there's very little history of discipline within the Minneapolis Police Department to begin with.
Of the 155 officers we analyzed, at least 95% of them had some form of misconduct complaint filed against them. 12% were actually disciplined by MPD brass. Among them, Officer Dustin Dupree, who was charged with slashing a woman's tire outside a Target in Cottage Grove in 2017. Fox 9 investigators obtained this surveillance video of the alleged road rage incident. Dupree kept his job and just last year walked away with a $175,000 payout. Post-traumatic stress is a medically recognized condition, but in 2019, the Minnesota legislature passed a law making it easier to get work-related PTSD claims approved. It removed the requirement that first responders provide proof that it actually happened on the job. In order to claim PTSD, an officer must be diagnosed by a city-appointed psychologist, but those officers or their attorney can still bring in one or even two of their own doctors to make an opposing case. As for the city, agreeing to a settlement sometimes comes down to what's cheaper, giving a payout or the cost of fighting it in court.
The goal of settlement is always to save money for the city in the long run. So even if we're paying more money up front, the hope is that we won't be paying out more over time.
Step out of the vehicle.
In the end, an officer's disciplinary record does not factor into whether their PTSD claim is approved or not. And the most the city has been willing to speak on these settlements has been limited to public hearings.
I believe that the city could be fighting these claims much more effectively. But it's impossible for us to know because all of this is protected by attorney-client privilege and it's protected by medical privacy on top of that.
Leaving the details of millions of dollars in settlements simply shrouded in secrecy. Now, those settlements only tell part of the story. The other is the sheer number of MPD officers claiming disability benefits through the state's retirement system. Now, this graph shows the applicants month by month, and you can see that huge spike in the aftermath of George Floyd. And while that is staggering, as you can see, the numbers, well, they are leveling out.
Nathan, is there any sense of how many of these disability claims are PTSD and how many are not?
Well, looking at our data, the blue line there represents those PTSD disability claims. The red line, which is a little bit more difficult to see because it's so low, well, that represents all of the other disability claims. And that works out to about 90% of all claims being PTSD. And by the way, if you want to explore this data for yourself, we're going to post it on fox9.com.
All right, thanks, Nate.
Wow. So maybe the Biden administration can reallocate some of those many billions and millions for police to investigating police fraud, because it sounds like these motherfuckers is gaming the system big time. And I love you all to pieces because I saw several of you asking the same questions I too was asking in my head. Gamandi said, what about the PTSD they inflict in the community? Accurate. Yes, my thoughts exactly. The audacity for so many of these Minneapolis police officers to claim PTSD and how much they were traumatized in the aftermath of the George Floyd uprising. Some shit they started. They fucking started this shit. Derek Chauvin, a field training officer, murdered George Floyd in cold blood on a busy Minneapolis street in front of many witnesses. And the MPD really thought that they were going to sprinkle some crack on the George Floyd situation and keep it fucking pushing until that third precinct went up in flames. Okay, they thought it was all good. And because the people responded with force, with vigor and enthusiasm, like, nope, this is not going to ride again. Because we all know what the track record of MPD, Minneapolis police, is. They have murdered many, many Black people and other people, people of color, indigenous folks as well, has been killed by the Minneapolis Police Department. And there were some serious efforts. Remember that ballot initiative that we were following, where they were going to reassess the entire police charter, their whole reason of existence. And it only failed to pass by, in my opinion, not a very big margin. I imagine that the organizers are trying to get that back on ballot for an upcoming election. But big up to the Black Visions Collective out of Minneapolis. They were at the city council meeting, I believe it was this week, if I'm not mistaken, advocating again for defunding the police to reallocate the many of the millions spent on Minneapolis police and redirect that to mental health services, into establishing a mental health crisis response team, right? Because that's what the majority of police work is. Besides traffic stops, it's them responding to mental health calls, which the cops themselves do not want to do, but they also are not turning down the money. They said, nope, keep funding us because we have so many officers going out on disability for PTSD. And I appreciate the way that the Fox 9 people, the journalists there, presented that, because you would have to be an absolute dunce to watch that and to think that all of these PTSD claims from these cops are legitimate. And I appreciate them also highlighting the amount of officers that are taking this workers' compensation who have many, many complaints on their record. Because I'm assuring you that that is not a coincidence. Cops with a lot of complaints saw an opportunity to make this medical claim. I'm sure, no medical professional really wants to dispute the police and how a cop is feeling after about the status of his job or how he or she is respected or not respected on the job. So I'm sure overwhelmingly amount of these complaints, or rather these filings, are being approved. $175,000 for one of them sons of bitches. The police have the best work protections of any other job in this country, right? I guess that's why the police are not technically part of the working class, because look how good they get treated. Look how good. Look how much protections are in place for the police. There's no way they're working class. They got all the pensions. They got all the free attorneys when they get into some trouble violating people's constitutional and civil rights. They get all the representation. They get all the law enforcement officers' Bill of Rights. They get a whole week before they got to address anybody about murdering a civilian on the street, right? And all they get to claim is say that their feelings was hurt, and they get $175,000 payout. And I'm certain they additionally probably get to keep their pension and their retirement and all the benefits therein. Fuck the police, defund the police, abolish the fucking police. Pop up that next tweet for me, there, Will, from Kenneth Mejia. So I want us to. I'm sticking on this defund and abolish the latest installation of, because as we just saw, the Minneapolis Police Department is thieving the city of Minneapolis for $26 million because these Bama's got their feelings hurt. And out in Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Police Department has the audacity to ask the city of LA for a budget increase. This tweet is from Kenneth Mejia. Kenneth is the Los Angeles City Controller elect. Kenneth is a certified public accountant, also an organizer. And Kenneth ran a boss-ass campaign to unseat a long-time bureaucrat in the position of city controller by running billboards detailing how much the LAPD was getting out of the Los Angeles city budget, and it was very effective. So Kenneth tweeted this and says, financial transparency, because this is what he ran on as the city comptroller elect. He says that he intends to be very transparent about the methods and the ways and the directions in which the LA budget and money and funds and resources are going, which is fantastic. I'm very excited to see it. It says LAPD is requesting a $119 million budget increase. Their current budget is $3.15 billion. Part of their requested budgets include $15.6 million for 2 helicopters, $38 million for police vehicles, $105.5 million mainly for recruiting and overtime. Also, they want $126,000 for graphic designers, $11.5 million for the after action report implementation plan, which was the response to the George Floyd uprising, including 421,000 for less lethal ammunition, $10.6 million for Bridge Home, which is a homeless shelter patrol. And the Los Angeles Police Department presented their requested budget to the LA Police Commission on Tuesday. And Kenneth was encouraging his followers to log into the meeting and make their opinions very loud and clear that there is no way in hell that of all niggas, you, LAPD, of all niggas, is going to ask for more money, $120 million more money on top of that $3 billion that they spend. They need 2 new helicopters, y'all. 2 new helicopters. Oh my God, for fuck's sake. Defund and abolish these motherfuckers as soon as possible. There was also a report that came out. I don't have it up, Will, so fret not. But there was a report that came out, I believe it was in the Times, that talked about after implementing new anti-engagement measures where the police, LAPD in particular, were precluded from it's bothering people, basically precluded from making certain kinds of stops, certain kinds of traffic stops, certain kinds of, just engagement stops. The amount of police interaction like plummeted, right? Once there were some parameters placed on the circumstances and the situation in which LAPD could even approach people that were not visibly breaking the law, the amount of police engagement went down dramatically, which just tells us that the police don't do anything to provide public safety. If anything, they are the cause of the crime. Secondly, they show up after the shit has already happened. They didn't do anything to prevent it. And their clearance rates on a variety of different violent crimes is abysmal. From homicides to rapes to sexual assaults to even child abuse cases, the police do not clear a lot of the stuff that they are allegedly tasked to investigate. So again, how can they even justify these outrageous budgets when there are so many other aspects of society that are in dire need of funding, like getting eviction assistance to people who are still managing to remain in their houses but are probably on the precipice of being evicted, the people that are already unhoused. We don't have anything really lined up for continued COVID mitigation. Just look at the directions in which America spends its money. America spends its money on policing and war. And war is really domestic war against its own citizenry, specifically Black and brown communities and gay communities as well, and indigenous communities. Like enough. Like, I'm so sick of seeing America in its current iteration. Is why I want to burn it down. That's why I want to burn it down. And you CIA and FBI sons of bitches. I saw another story and I didn't pull it up because I was like, you know what, I'm a little bit overwhelmed right now. But the amount of people that the CIA has going through social media posts is laughable, because it's significant. It's a lot of folks. They have a lot of people employed trolling, not well, perusing, let's say, or profiling and building cases rather against people for their social media postings. And it's so funny that there's all this money spent on domestic reconnaissance and trying to spy on the domestic population here, and they can't seem to catch any of these fucking white supremacist mass shooters before they walk out the house with their AR-15 and 2 loaded magazines. Like, they can never seem to stop any of that shit. But I bet you whoever is the lucky agent that gets to watch my show, hey, lucky you got a plum assignment. I'm sure they wrote down today, and on today, 11/22/22, Kim Brown said again, burn America down for the 500th time. For the 500th time, Kim said, burn this bitch down. I'm so tired of here. But real quick, before we leave, speaking of Los Angeles, LA, the activist community is still very much with the shits. They're still calling for the resignation of the remaining city council members who were caught on a hot microphone making racist comments. They got rid of Nuri. They trying to get rid of Kevin DeLeon and a couple of other youngins. And Richie and them, big up to the People City Council and the others. Sorry, I'm trying not to burn y'all's ear. Everybody that showed up at the LA City Hall today, and I actually need to go back on Richie's Twitter timeline to see what happened because I had to close my show document for the afternoon, so I need to go in and see what was going on here. But let's take a look at a couple clips, and then I'm gonna let you guys go because, again, as you can imagine, they was absolutely with the shits out there in LA. So the first clip we're going to see is going to be from, what does that say? Oh, stop spying. Yes, stop spying LA. Okay. And the tweet reads, it says, now that we're learning, the city attorney has ordered coalition member Hamid Khan removed from the council meeting before the meeting even started. This is clear political repression. Okay, that's the first clip we're going to see. So we're going to see Hamid Khan speaking about the city attorney targeting him for removal from the meeting. And then we're going to see a couple of Richie's videos where they're chanting no resignations, no meetings. And then we see the LAPD enter the LA City Hall chamber, I'm assuming there to remove protesters. So let's take a look at this montage of clips from LA today.
7:29. Officers, please clear the room so the City Council of Los Angeles can proceed with its business. Members, I ask that you please exit the chambers. We're going to be in a brief recess for 20 minutes. We're going to be in brief recess.
Attention real quickly. This is a document. My name is Hamid Khan. I'm with Stop LAPD Spy Coalition. We've been here regularly since this racist bullshit and this fuckery that was exposed, which is business as usual. We've been here for years and years because business as usual is corruption, bribery, conspiracies, backdoor deals, special interests, and everything else. Today they're telling me that I can't come in. This is a letter with my name from the city attorney's office that because I'm using my right of free speech, I'm exercising my right to speak out about the concerns that the community has, I'm exposing their corruption, they're now restricting my entry and they're saying you cannot be in the city hall. So this is how business as usual is going on. This is how our voices are being silenced, and this is how political oppression happens. This is how they gather people's information. So today, again, please, we're asking everybody, do not let this business as usual continue. Do not let business as usual continue. Because no resignations, no meetings. No resignations, no meetings. Thank you all very much.
And please keep all these scenes in mind when you go back to your family's house for the holidays and people start talking about how America's the greatest country, the freest country, the freest. Where else can all these darkies just talk reckless to whites? Where else? No, tell them that no, even in democratically controlled places, activists are being targeted. This guy don't represent the right wing. Why is the LA city attorney targeting him? Isn't LA controlled by Democrats? You understand? Like all this political violence and suppression comes from both parties. We are in bipartisan fascism, okay? Everybody's a fucking fascist. If they hold elected office, chances are they support fascism in some form of fashion. And that is fascist. To remove this person, Hamid, Brother Hamid, stop LAPD spying. Please follow them on social medias, especially on the Twitter, so you can follow their work. Can you imagine having your name? I mean, I can't imagine, but to be specified, to be targeted by the sitting city attorney, to say this person is precluded from coming in. He's not accused of doing anything violent. All he's doing is asserting his First Amendment rights to assembly, to free speech, and to witness the business affairs of the publicly elected body. And how many times have we seen, specifically in LA, the city council clear the chamber, remove protesters, arrest people? It is fascism big time. And don't just think it's it's definitely fascism in the abortion restrictive states, yes, but that fascism is alive and well in places like California, in places like New York, in places like Maryland. They are getting fascist as fuck out here, and we better be ready for them. Be ready for them. So big up to everybody that was at the LA City Council today. No resignations, no meetings. And gang, that's our show for tonight. Do me a favor. I will do the morning show tomorrow. I didn't today just because I woke up too late and I was not prepared. I had no stories to contribute. I had no clean shirts. I said, no, I cannot work under these conditions. I cannot work under self-unpreparedness And again, self unpreparedness. So tomorrow morning, if they're still doing a morning show tomorrow morning, catch me on there, 8 a.m. Black Power Media. I will be doing Status Coup tomorrow as well, 5 p.m. Oh, I thought there was so this is what's happening Friday. Friday is Black Friday. So we're not doing a live show on Black Friday, but I am going to do the AMA because we do the AMA is as promised every final Friday of the month. This Friday is the final Friday of November. So Will's going out of town, and so he's not going to be able to run like a show. So we're going to do the AMA. Let's do the AMA 8 o'clock, 8:30. Is there are they still playing foosball on Friday? Are they playing the football? I don't even know what the fuck's going on Friday. But you guys can tell me your Black Friday shopping stories if you participate in such things, or you could let me know what your weekend plans are. We could just sit around, shoot the shit. Y'all can talk to me about your crazy relatives at the holiday dinner table and some of the outlandish things that I'm sure will be said in households across this not so great nation. So there's that. So everybody, please be safe. Be safe traveling if you're going out there for the holidays. If you want to hang out with us for the November Black Friday AMA, become a member here on YouTube, or you can sign up at Patreon, patreon.com/BIDWKB. Both places you can support the channel for as little as $2 a month. That's it, $2. That brings a smile to my face. $2 whole. Yes. So anyway, thank you all so much. COVID is still out here jumping on people. The RSV is just dropping elbows all over the children. And apparently nobody gives a fuck. So please show the kids and your immunocompromised and disabled neighbors and family members that you give a fuck. So you're going to wear a mask. And oh, Jesus, I don't even know what to tell y'all to do for Thanksgiving. Just mask up while you're traveling. Mask up while you're indoors. If you're sick, stay home. Don't go spread your germs every which way. Please don't. And on behalf of Will and Molly, thank you all so much for your beautiful support. Members and patrons, we'll see you back here Friday for the AMA. Everybody else, see y'all tomorrow on BPM and on Status Quo. And if not, we'll see y'all back here next Tuesday for another Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Y'all have a great one. Be safe. Love y'all to pieces. See y'all later. Bye-bye. See ya.